I will never read every book. I will never listen to every song. I won't step foot in every city, but I will live 1,000,000 lives.
What is up, you guys? Today I wanted to talk about the greatest boy band of all time. Yes, the Backstreet Boys. Nope, Brockhampton! Brockhampton. Today I wanted to talk about the greatest boy band of all time, Brockhampton. If you don't know who they are, they ran 2017 through like 2020-ish. They were goated. They broke up. And I'm very sad about this still. Mostly because of the FOMO. Because I didn't really experience it in the moment a little bit. I listened to Brockhampton not realizing it was Brockhampton. So, I didn't get to see like their Coachella stuff or any of their concerts or anything. I missed out. It's like I missed the Beatles too because I wasn't alive in the 60s. Like, I keep missing all these good bands. It's pissing me off. But today I wanted to talk about The Family by Brockhampton. Their last album ever. And how I think it's the most imperfect but beautiful goodbye. Because it's only by 2 of the members, and there's like 13, give or take. It's Kevin Abstract and Bareface. That's the producer. Kevin Abstract does all the singing. He has a great solo career too, but he's better in Brockhampton. But so this final album is this beautiful goodbye because it's so raw and chaotic, where there's 17 songs all around a minute each, except for 2 or 3 songs are over 2 minutes. And they are just discussing why Brockhampton doesn't exist. Or Kevin, it's just Kevin. Kevin is just taking so many different perspectives on why Brockhampton isn't around anymore. And it's funny, no matter what perspective he takes, he always finds that he's been part of the problem. He's the reason Brockhampton isn't around anymore. And so this is his goodbye to the fans and to his fellow band members because they don't talk anymore. And I think the most beautiful thing about it is that they had a record deal with RCA, $15 million. You had to do 6 albums in 3 years. And, well, they needed that last album. So Kevin did it on his own. Well, with Bareface. But they did it on their own without everyone else. Like, they fulfilled the record deal for everyone so they could all be free from the chains of major music. Big music. And I think there's something beautiful in that gesture that they did, that Kevin did. And that Brockhampton might have died. But I think he also saved it in the end because it was a good goodbye, It's like if your favorite sports player leaves for another team. It depends how they do it, if you still like them. Or like Mike Evans on the Bucks. No Bucks fans is ever going to hate him, because he did it the right way. And I think Brockhampton did that too. Like, yes, slowly but surely they deteriorated. But I think Kevin gave everyone an honest goodbye. Because that's all we really want is honesty. And we'll be happy, That's what life is. Now, I wrote about this on Substack. I did a full thing on on every song, on literally everything. But I don't really know what I want to talk about on here. Because I just want to talk, I guess. Hear myself talk. I just think there's a beauty in a failed situationship that you can admit to, I think Brockhampton does that. Kevin. The whole time, the whole story is of, they reference RZA, the guy from Wu-Tang Clan. There's a whole song about him. And how he was able to keep Wu-Tang together for so long. And how he was a fan of Brockhampton. And Kevin kind of looked up to him. But Kevin failed. He wasn't able to replicate what that guy did. He wasn't able to copy the mentor. And he also references Mom. And there's just these crazy samples. Oh my God, they're so good. He talks about 37th Street. He talks about the basement, the South Side. References to all these places where things were good. But it wasn't the places that made it good. It was the people who he was with. It was the band. It was Brockhampton. There's a song On the Road Again. Or Road. And he's talking about all these other places that while they're on the road, smoking on the bus, trying to make sure the manager didn't see because they're just trying to keep them under control, which was impossible. And there's just a beauty to that. He talks a little bit about Dominic Fike, about Travis the Creator, and Kanye West. Because Kanye started it all. It all started from the Kanye Reddit forum. That's where the band formed. And Kevin gets mad because he's the only member still online on social media answering to the fans, which I think is beautifully ironic. Because the band started online because of a post by Kevin. And then he's the only one still online. The rest of the band isn't online. So he has to address everyone alone. He's a lone wolf representing a whole that isn't together. It's like almost like a false prophet. And I think that's what Kevin kind of feels like, because he failed the band as the leader. He was a false prophet. He didn't do anything. Well, he had the vision. He even says it a lot. There's a vine of him saying he had the vision, which he did. He was a prophet in that sense, where he had a vision for the band. But he lost it in the pursuit of art. Like, he admits to loving toxic relationships. I mean, he was dating the guy who did their merchandising, who lived with them. Kind of toxic, Kevin. But he loved it. He loved the toxicity. And I think Brockhampton loved it too. I think all the members did. It was chaotic. It was controlled chaos, which everyone loves in their life. Everyone wants to live, you know? And so in that, I think it created a good goodbye, because it's one of those things where it's a love letter that you read and burn and you forget about it. And that's what this final album is. It's about the family. Because, like, if you have a family in real life, you know, eventually you grow old from your siblings. You guys don't hang out all the time. You know, you move to different cities, do your own thing, start your own families. And I think that's what happened with the band, with the fans, with everything. Everyone started to move on. And while everyone in the back of their mind thinks about your last name, your family, your hometown, but it's gone. It's in the past. And you do anything for them still, but you know it's time to move on from that. And I think that's what the family is. It's the ultimate omission to the reality of the situation. You know, Kevin talks about faith a lot on the album, which is ironic because he's gay. Not in like, I don't know, pretty sure I'm not, honestly don't even know. Geez, that car's going fast. I don't know how religious he is, but it's funny when he talks about his faith and with God and stuff, because I think he asks for the unattainable on purpose, so he can, like, self-sabotage his faith, because he doesn't want a reunion with the band. He wants to relive the past. Like, he's like, there's a song called, I don't know what the song's, I'm blanking on the song, but he talks about growing up. Please don't let me grow up. Please don't let me grow up, Lord. Because he wants to stay in the past, which God can't do. He can help connect you with your friends again, but he can't connect you back to that moment with your friends that Kevin is wishing for, which I think is a beautiful self-sabotage by Kevin. And then there's another part where he's like, I only talk to God, I lost my therapist. Where he's talking about he can't talk to his friends anymore. But ironically, the whole album feels like Kevin being a therapist for himself. From both sides of this, you know, he's talking to himself and he's talking back and he's listening. And he's finally starting to understand all the little things that happen over time that made the band fall apart. Now, I think the most beautiful moment in the album is the last song, Brockhampton, which is basically a summary of their story in 4 minutes. And I think it's one of the greatest songs. It's a top 10 song for me all time. It reminds me of Prom King by Saba, where it's just like poetic storytelling that you can put yourself in, especially if you know the references. Like, I did a decent amount of research for this, you know. And, you know, hot take, this is my favorite Brockhampton album. You know, I know it's not the best creatively, artistically, or anything. Maybe not even everyone's favorite Kevin Abstract album. But I just love how beautifully imperfect it is, how vulnerable Kevin is. Because while Kevin applies all these situations to Brockhampton, I think anyone can apply it to different situations in their life. And, like, at times, the album feels repetitive on the issues Kevin is addressing, but I think that's the point. Because there's 13 guys in the band. I think things got overemphasized, or need to be overemphasized, because could you imagine living with 13 friends, all creatives? I would lose my shit so fast. I can barely stand 3 roommates, and they're all dumbasses. They can't even think like me. If someone was on my artistic level that lived with me, I would kill them. Now, joking, please don't put me on any watch lists. And unless it's like Sports Illustrated, that's a cool watch list. I'll be on that. 30 under 30, 30 under 5'7", put me on that. No, but Brockhampton, it's a beautiful goodbye because it's imperfect. You know how hard it is to say goodbye to people? You're like, no, you hang up first. No, you hang up first. Okay, it's hard. It's hard to say goodbye to people. And so I think it's because I think about the Beatles. Like, Paul McCartney, knock on wood, you know, he's still alive. So, like, the Beatles are still around. Like, Brockhampton is still around because all the members are still alive and living. But Brockhampton isn't around, you know. As long as the members are around, it's still a thing. But the soul is gone. So this goodbye doesn't feel real because, like, wait, why are we saying goodbye to Brockhampton? Brockhampton could still be a thing, but it's not. There's no encore. The show is over. Get out your seat, is what Kevin says. And it's impossible to say goodbye to something that's still there, you know. The easiest goodbye is when someone's dying because you know it's an actual goodbye. You'll never see them again. But Brockhampton, we might see again. But we don't. We don't know. Maybe we will someday. I don't think anytime soon. Maybe someday in the future, you know. But I think that's why it's an imperfect goodbye. A beautiful goodbye. Because we know it's over. Sadly. And while we won't make any more memories of Brockhampton, you know, of the Brockhampton, I still think we can look back and learn and grow from Brockhampton, if that makes sense. I kind of worded that weird. Thank you guys for watching. For a more articulated version, go to my Substack. This was kind of just a word salad, hand up. That's on me. It's my fault. I was feeling Caesar. I said, you know, we'll do a word salad on YouTube today. Everyone, have a great day. Go listen to Brockhampton, or not.